Queen Elizabeth II was born Princess Elizabeth Alexandra Mary on April 21, 1926, in London, to Prince Albert, Duke of York, later known as King George VI, and Elizabeth Bowes-Lyon. As the child of a younger son of King George V, the young Elizabeth had little prospect of acceding to the throne until her uncle, Edward VIII, afterward Duke of Windsor, abdicated in her father's favour on December 11, 1936, at which time her father became King George VI and she became heir presumptive. The princess's education was supervised by her mother, who entrusted her daughters to a governess, Marion Crawford. The princess was also grounded in history by C.H.K. Marten, afterward provost of Eton College, and had instruction from visiting teachers in music and languages. During World War II, she and her sister, Princess Margaret Rose, perforce spent much of their time safely away from the London Blitz and separated from their parents, living mostly at Balmoral Castle in Scotland and at the Royal Lodge, Windsor and Windsor Castle. Early in 1947, Princess Elizabeth went with the King and Queen to South Africa. After her return, there was an announcement of her betrothal to her distant cousin, Lieutenant Philip Mountbatten of the Royal Navy, formerly Prince Philip of Greece and Denmark. The marriage took place in Westminster Abbey on November 20, 1947. On the eve of the wedding, her father, the King, conferred upon the bridegroom the titles of Duke of Edinburgh, Earl of Merioneth, and Baron Greenwich. They took residence at Clarence House in London. Their first child, Prince Charles Philip Arthur George, was born November 14, 1948. In the summer of 1951, the health of King George VI entered into a serious decline, and Princess Elizabeth represented him of the Trooping of the Colour, and on various other state occasions. On October 7th, she and her husband set out on a highly successful tour of Canada and Washington, D.C. After Christmas in England, she and the Duke set out in January 1952 for a tour of Australia and New Zealand, but en route at Sagana, Kenya, news reached them of the King's death on February 6, 1952. Elizabeth, now Queen, at once flew back to England. The first 3 months of her reign, the period of full mourning for her father, were passed in comparative seclusion. But in the summer, after she had moved from Clarence House to Buckingham Palace, she undertook the routine duties of the sovereign and carried out her first state opening of Parliament on November 4, 1952. Her coronation was held at Westminster Abbey on June 2, 1953. On the accession of Queen Elizabeth, her son Prince Charles became heir apparent. He was named Prince of Wales on July 26, 1958, and was so invested on July 1, 1969. The Queen's other children were Princess Anne Elizabeth Alice Louise, born August 15, 1950, and created Princess Royal in 1987, Prince Andrew Albert Christian Edward, born February 19, 1960, and created Duke of York in 1986, and Prince Edward Anthony Richard Louis, born March 10, 1964, and created Earl of Wessex and Viscount Severn in 1999. All these children have the surname of Windsor, but in 1960, Elizabeth decided to create the hyphenated name Mountbatten Windsor for other descendants not styled Prince or Princess and Royal Highness. In 2012, Elizabeth celebrated her Diamond Jubilee, marking 60 years on the throne. On September 9, 2015, she surpassed Victoria's record reign of 63 years and 216 days. The Queen's Platinum Jubilee began on the 6th of February 2022, marking 70 years since she acceded to the throne on her father's death. In her Accession Day message, Elizabeth renewed her commitment to a lifetime of public service, which she originally made in 1947. Elizabeth is known to favour simplicity in court life, and is also known to take a serious and informed interest in government business, aside from the traditional and ceremonial duties. Privately, she became a keen horsewoman. She keeps racehorses, frequently attends races, and periodically visits the Kentucky stud farms in the United States. Her financial and property holdings have made her one of the world's richest women.